Dr. Jiho Beck had not slept properly in 3 years. Deep in the Oort cloud, far beyond where anyone would think to look, he stood in a facility that officially did not exist. Around him, thousands of scientists and engineers worked day and night on Project Prometheus. The secret to humanity's future lay in these cold, hidden stations built inside hollowed-out asteroids. "Show me the test results," Jiho said to his assistant, a young woman named Hayan who had lost her sister at New Haven. She pulled up the data on a holographic display. The quantum entanglement field holds stable for 0.7 seconds now. That is enough to stop a plasma bolt completely. The energy just disappears into another dimension. Jiho smiled for the first time in weeks. And the weapons? Even better. By reversing the field, we can punch through any known shield system. The Council's best defensive technology will be useless against this. Elsewhere in the hidden facility, Youngman Im watched as construction drones assembled the hull of something beautiful and terrible. The ship was smaller than traditional Council warships, but every line of its design screamed speed and lethality. It looked like a knife made of metal and hate. "The Retribution class is ready for testing," he reported to General Hana Song, who had arrived to inspect the facility. 40 of them are under construction. They will be faster than anything in the Kresh fleet, more maneuverable, and with Dr. Beck's new weapons much more deadly. Hana walked around the ship, running her hand along its hull. She had trained in special operations before the war, back when humanity thought they could solve problems with words. Now she commanded all of Earth's military forces, and she had learned to think differently. "Tell me about the crew requirements," she said. "Standard Council warships need hundreds of crew members because they are so large and complicated. Ours need only 30. We have automated everything we can. The ship's computer responds to human thought patterns through neural interfaces. A human pilot can react in milliseconds. Most alien species take much longer to process combat information." "Why is that?" Hana asked. Youngman smiled grimly. "Because humans evolved as persistence hunters. We are built to track, chase, and kill prey over long periods. Our brains process movement and predict trajectories better than most species. The Council sees this as primitive. We see it as an advantage. Their ships are designed for civilized combat with rules and honor. Ours are designed to win." In another section of the facility, Captain Seo-Yun Han ran combat simulations with her crew. They had been training for 2 years, learning to operate the new warships in ways that would surprise any enemy. The simulator showed a scenario where 5 human ships faced 20 Kresh vessels. "Remember," Seo-Yun told her crew, "they expect us to fight like they do. Stand off at range, exchange fire, retreat when damaged. We do not do that. We get close. We get personal. We make them panic." The simulation began. The human ships accelerated to speeds that would have torn apart Council vessels. They split up, attacking from multiple angles simultaneously. When the Kresh tried to focus on one ship, the others would strike from behind. When the Kresh tried to spread out, the human ships would concentrate all their fire on one target at a time. In 3 minutes, all 20 Kresh ships were destroyed. The human ships had taken damage, but none were lost. "Again," Seo-Yun ordered. "Faster this time. I want every movement to be instinct. When we face the real enemy, there will be no time to think." While the military prepared openly in their hidden bases, another kind of war was being fought in the shadows. Junho Lim sat in a bar on Nexus Prime, looking like just another alien merchant down on his luck. His genetic modifications and cosmetic surgery made him unrecognizable as human. He had been living this lie for 4 years now, ever since President Yoonji had recruited him for deep cover intelligence work. "The Kresh fleet. Movements are predictable." He sent in an encrypted message back to Earth. "They rotate their border patrols every 16 days. There is always a 6-hour window where the homeworld defense is weakest. Also, I have confirmed that Vexthar personally authorized the New Haven attack. The evidence is in the Council's secure files. I am working on getting access. All across Council space, hundreds of humans lived secret lives. They worked as merchants, as maintenance workers, as low-level bureaucrats. No one paid attention to them. And all the while they watched and listened and reported everything back to Earth." Threnvok met with Jiho during a secret rendezvous in neutral space. The alien council member had been taking enormous risks to help humanity. "I have brought you the technical specifications for the Council's long-range sensor networks," Threnvok said, passing over a data crystal. "If you can disable these at the right moment, you can move your fleet without being detected until it is too late. Why are you helping us?" Jiho asked. You could be executed for treason if the council discovers this. Threnvok's body rippled with emotion. Because the council has become evil. They claim to represent civilization, but they protect murderers and oppress the weak. My people remember what it was like to be where you are now. We were once dismissed and threatened, until we learned to keep our heads down and obey. I do not want that future for humanity. Better that someone stands up to them, even if the cost is terrible. It will be terrible, Jiho agreed. Many will die, human and alien alike. Are you prepared for that? Are you? Threnvok asked. Jiho thought of the children at New Haven. He thought of the families who had gone to sleep one night thinking they were building a future, only to die screaming as fire fell from the sky. He thought of how the council had laughed at humanity's pain. Yes, he said simply, we are prepared for anything. Back on Earth, President Yunji met with her full cabinet for the first time in a year. They gathered in the war room, surrounded by displays showing the readiness of humanity's forces. Status report, she commanded. Admiral Doyun spoke first. The Retribution fleet is 95% complete. 40 capital ships, 200 destroyers, 500 fighters, all equipped with quantum weapons and shields. Crew training is ahead of schedule. We can deploy within the month, General Hana continued. Special operations teams are in position around 17 key Kresh installations. We have mapped their entire military infrastructure. When you give the order, we can cripple their command and control before the main fleet arrives. Taeyang added his piece. Intelligence networks are fully operational. We know the position of every major Kresh fleet. We also have compromising information on 73 council members who participated in the New Haven decision. When the time comes, we can ensure that the galaxy sees exactly what kind of civilization the council really represents. Finally, Jiho's face appeared on a screen, transmitted from the Oort Cloud facility. The weapon systems are fully operational. We have successfully tested them against captured council technology. I can confirm that our shields will hold against any known weapon, and our quantum disruptors can penetrate any known defense. We have also completed the special project you requested. Yunji leaned forward. The planet killer? Yes, Madam President. We have one. It is against every principle humanity claims to hold. But you said we needed it as insurance. A final warning that we are not to be pushed any further. Yunji felt the weight of that knowledge settle on her shoulders. A weapon that could destroy a world. Exactly what the Kresh had used on New Haven. The question was whether humanity would use it or simply hold it as a threat. Keep it secret, she ordered. But make sure the council learns we have it when the time comes. I want them to understand that if they come for Earth, we can and will retaliate in kind. She looked around at her advisors, these people who had worked so hard for so long. 3 years ago we were humiliated. 50,000 of our people were murdered. The galaxy laughed at our pain. Now we are ready. Now we are strong. Soon the Kresh will pay for what they did, and the council will learn that humanity is not prey. We are the hunters, and the hunt begins now. Fleet Admiral Jiwon Park stood on the bridge of her flagship, the EFS Horizon's Vengeance. Around her, 40 capital ships and their escorts hung in the darkness between stars. They had been here for 6 hours, silent and waiting. Every ship had powered down all but essential systems. To any sensor, they looked like nothing more than cold rocks drifting through space. Admiral, her communications officer whispered, though there was no need to be quiet in the vacuum of space. Captain Minseo reports that the assault teams are in position. General Hana confirms all Special Forces units are ready. We are waiting for your order. Jiwon looked at the chronometer. In 30 seconds, humanity would cross a line that could never be uncrossed. They would become what the galaxy already thought they were. Dangerous, violent, worthy of fear. All ships, she said quietly. Activate quantum drives and execute Operation Retribution. Show them what humanity really is. Across council space, 17 military installations suddenly found themselves under attack. Human warships appeared from nowhere, their quantum drives allowing them to jump directly into close range. But they were not firing to kill. Not yet. At each installation, the human ships broadcast the same message in every known language. This is the Human Defense Fleet. We are here to disable your weapons and communications. We have no desire to harm you. Do not resist and you will not be hurt. This is your only warning. Most installations were too shocked to respond. A few tried to fight back. Their weapons fire simply vanished into the quantum shields, energy bleeding into other dimensions. Within minutes, every military station in Council space was blind, deaf, and defenseless. Captain Minseo Jiang led the main assault on the Kresh homeworld. Her ship, the Fury, was the first to drop out of quantum space above the planet where 50,000 humans had been cremated from orbit. She looked down at the Kresh cities and felt nothing but cold anger. "Target military installations only," she ordered her weapons officer. "No civilian casualties. We are not like them." The Kresh defense fleet scrambled to respond. 93 warships rose to meet the 40 human vessels. The Kresh admiral, a creature named Throck who had personally ordered the New Haven massacre, broadcast a message full of contempt. "Primitives," his translator rendered his words. "You dare to attack the Kresh? We will crush you as we crushed your pathetic colony. We will burn Earth and scatter your ashes across the void." Minseo did not reply with words. She replied with action. The human fleet split into 4 groups and accelerated to speeds that made the Kresh sensors think they were seeing errors. The Retribution-class ships moved like fighters despite being the size of cruisers. They dodged, weaved, and struck with precision that seemed impossible. The Kresh fleet tried to form a defensive wall, but the humans simply went around it. They struck at the flanks, the rear, targeting engines and weapon systems. Every shot was calculated to disable rather than destroy, except when the enemy gave them no choice. Throck watched in growing horror as his fleet was torn apart. These humans fought nothing like the Council species. There was no honor, no formation combat, no exchange of fire at respectful distances. They fought like predators taking down prey, all teeth and claws and merciless efficiency. "All ships focus fire on their flagship," he ordered desperately. "Kill their commander and they will scatter." Every Kresh weapon that could fire turned toward the Fury. Enough plasma and projectiles to vaporize a mountain converged on Minseo's ship, and then vanished. The quantum shield simply erased the attack from reality. "Our turn," Minseo said calmly. "Target that flagship's bridge. Quantum disruptor, full power." A beam of twisted space-time struck Throck's ship. The shields that had protected it for decades meant nothing. The beam passed through them as if they did not exist and carved through the ship's hull like it was paper. The bridge exploded into vacuum. "This is Captain Minseo Jiang to all Kresh vessels. Your admiral is dead. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your shields cannot stop us. Surrender now or join him." One by one, the Kresh ships powered down their weapons. In 20 minutes, the greatest battle fleet in the Kresh Empire had been defeated with minimal casualties on either side. The humans had proven their point. They could have killed everyone. They chose not to. On Nexus Prime, Vexithar was in an emergency council session when the reports started flooding in. Human attacks everywhere, council installations disabled, the Kresh fleet defeated, and something else, something that made his crystalline form pulse with what might have been fear. "They are broadcasting everywhere," another council member reported, panic in their voice. "They are showing the communications. Our communications, the ones where we authorized the New Haven attack. The whole galaxy can see what we did." Junho Lim had done his job perfectly. Every encrypted message, every secret deal, every cynical calculation that had led to the murder of 50,000 innocents was now public. The galaxy watched in shock as Vexthar's own voice discussed how to manage the human problem through acceptable losses. "We must respond with force," Vexthar demanded. "Send the full council fleet to Earth. Destroy them before this goes any further." But other voices were rising in opposition. Minor species that had always been silent were now speaking up. "You authorized genocide," one declared. "You armed warmongers and punished peaceful species. You are everything the council was created to prevent." Jiwan's face appeared on every screen in the council chamber. She stood on her bridge surrounded by the victorious human fleet. "Counselor Vexthar," she said, her voice cutting through the chaos. "I am Fleet Admiral Jiwan Park of Earth. You may remember me from our first meeting when you called my people primitives, when you denied us a voice in galactic affairs, when you condemned us to remain small and weak. Thank you for that. Your arrogance gave us the motivation to surpass you. You are criminals," Vexthar shot back. "You have attacked council installations. This is an act of war." "No," G1 corrected him. "What you did to New Haven was an act of war. What we are doing is justice. We disabled your military bases without casualties. We defeated the Kresh fleet and took prisoners. We have shown remarkable restraint for such primitives, have we not?" She leaned forward and there was steel in her eyes. "Here is what happens now. The Kresh Emperor Drakthor and every official who participated in the New Haven massacre will be turned over to human custody to face trial. The Council will formally recognize human sovereignty over all territory we currently occupy. You will lift all restrictions on human expansion and trade, and most importantly, you will stand trial yourselves for crimes against peaceful species. Impossible! Vexthar pulsed with outrage. The Council answers to no one. The Council answers to justice, Jiwan replied. Just because you have forgotten that does not make it untrue. You have a choice. Accept these terms or we will make you accept them. And trust me, Counselor, you do not want us to do this the hard way. Your threats mean nothing. The Council has thousands of warships. You have dozens. Simple mathematics will destroy you. Jiwan smiled, and it was not a kind smile. Let me tell you something about human mathematics, Counselor. We did not show you everything we can do. The weapons you just saw? The shields? The speed? Those are just the beginning. We have weapons that make quantum disruptors look like toys. We have technology that would terrify you. And most importantly, we have something you have forgotten. What is that? Vexthar asked despite himself. We remember how to fight. Not your civilized combat with rules and honor. Real fighting. Dirty, brutal, whatever it takes fighting. We evolved doing it. We spent thousands of years perfecting it. You think your superior numbers matter? Ask the Kresh fleet how that worked out for them. Behind her, tactical displays showed the Kresh homeworld now surrounded by human ships. Every military installation on the planet was offline. Every orbital platform was disabled. The entire Kresh Empire had been crippled in a single day. As we speak, Jiwan continued, 200 council species are withdrawing their membership. They have seen your corruption. They have seen your crimes. And they have seen that someone finally has the power and the courage to stand against you. The old council is dead, Vexthar. The only question is whether you die with it, or whether you accept reality and help build something better. Vexthar's crystalline form flickered with rage and fear. You cannot do this. You are primitives. You are nothing. We were nothing, Jiwan agreed. You made sure of that. But you made a mistake. You left us alive. You gave us time. And most of all, you gave us a reason. Thank you for that. Now you have 24 hours to decide. Accept our terms or face the consequences. Choose wisely. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, billions of beings stared at their screens in shock. The humans had done the impossible. They had challenged the Council and won. The galaxy would never be the same again. 5 years had passed since the humiliation at Nexus Prime. Earth had not been idle. President Yoonji Nam stood in the command center deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, watching reports flood in from humanity's scattered colonies and outposts. They had been careful. Every expansion had been measured. Every new settlement placed in unclaimed territory far from Council space. Humanity had learned to stay quiet and work in the shadows. Madam President, Admiral Do-Yun Kang called out, "We are receiving a distress signal from New Haven Colony." Yoonji's stomach tightened. New Haven was their pride and joy. 50,000 people, families and children, living on a beautiful world with blue oceans and green forests. It was everything humanity had hoped to find among the stars. "Put it through," she ordered. The communication was broken, filled with static and screaming. A woman's voice came through, desperate and terrified. "They came from nowhere. Kresh warships. They are not responding to our hails. They are firing. Oh God, they are firing on the residential sectors." Then nothing. Just static. Do-Hyun's face went white. "Get me a ship there now. Send everything we have in that sector." "It will take 6 hours for our nearest patrol to arrive," the communications officer reported, his voice shaking. 6 hours. Yoonji closed her eyes. She knew what they would find. Scout pilot Soo Jin-yoon was the first to arrive at New Haven. Her small ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system, and what she saw made her throw up in her helmet. The planet was glowing, not with city lights or the warm glow of civilization. It was glowing with heat from orbital bombardment. "This is Scout 7 to command," she whispered into her radio. "New Haven it is gone. The entire surface has been glassed. No structures remain. No life signs. The Kresh fleet is still in orbit. They are celebrating." She watched through her scope as the massive Kresh warships fired their weapons into the air in some kind of victory display. 50,000 people, gone. Men, women, children, all of them dead. And the Kresh were celebrating. Sujin wanted to attack them. Her ship had weapons. But one small scout against a battle fleet would accomplish nothing except adding her death to the total. So she did the hardest thing she had ever done. She recorded everything with her ship's cameras, turned around, and ran. 3 days later, Admiral Do-Hyun Kang stood before the Galactic Council once again. This time, he came with a fleet of 20 human warships, the largest force humanity had ever assembled. They did not ask for permission to dock. They did not wait for an invitation. They came in force, and the Council had no choice but to listen. Do-Hyun played the footage for everyone to see. The Kresh fleet appearing without warning. The bombardment of defenseless civilian centers. The methodical destruction of every living thing on the planet. The celebration afterward. 50,000 civilians, Do-Hyun said, his voice hard as steel. No military targets, no weapons, just people trying to build a new life. The Kresh Empire has committed an act of genocide, and we demand justice. We demand that the Council hold them accountable. Vexithar floated forward, his crystalline form somehow expressing boredom. This is unfortunate, Admiral. However, our records show that New Haven Colony was established in disputed territory. The Kresh Empire has claimed that system for 300 years. That is a lie, Do-Hyun shot back. We surveyed that system thoroughly. There were no Kresh settlements, no Kresh claims registered anywhere. We checked the public records. That planet was empty and unclaimed when we arrived. Records can be incomplete, another council member said, this one resembling a floating blob of something that rippled when it spoke. The Kresh have provided documentation of their historical claim. As a council member species, their word carries significant weight. Taeyang Shin, head of Earth's intelligence division, stepped forward. He had been quiet until now, but his face was pale with rage. We have intercepted communications between the Kresh High Command and this council. Communications that show you authorized this attack. You gave them permission to strike at New Haven to teach humanity its place. You armed them, you encouraged them, and you protected them. The council chamber erupted in noise. Denials flew from dozens of species. Security guards moved toward the human delegation. But Vexithar simply pulsed with light, and the chamber fell silent. Even if your accusations were true, he said coldly, what would you do about it? You are primitives. You have no allies. No one in this galaxy will support you against the Council. The Kresh Empire's fleet outnumbers yours 50-1. If you push this matter further, you may find that Earth suffers the same fate as New Haven. President Yoonji had been watching the proceedings through a live feed. When she heard those words, something inside her broke, not broke with despair, broke with rage, cold, calculating rage. She opened a secure channel to her top military commanders. Activate Project Prometheus. Begin Phase 1 immediately. All colonies are to go dark and relocate to backup coordinates. All military personnel are recalled to Sol System. We are going to war. Madam President, one of her advisors said carefully, the Council has thousands of member species. Their combined military might is beyond anything we can face. They think we are weak, Yoonji said quietly. They think we are primitives who will accept their bullying. They have made a mistake. We will not strike at the Council. Not yet. But the Kresh Empire will learn what happens when you murder human children. And the Council will learn that their protection means nothing. Back on Nexus Prime, Do-Hyun and his delegation were preparing to leave. As they walked through the corridors, a figure approached them from the shadows. It was Threnvok, a council member from a minor species that had always been kind to humans during their brief interactions. Admiral, Threnvok whispered, you must know that not all council members support what happened to your people. Many of us are sickened by this. The council has become corrupt. The powerful species do as they wish, and the weak ones like mine can only watch. If humanity chooses to seek justice, you will have friends, though we cannot help openly. Do-Hyun looked at the alien, seeing genuine sorrow in its strange eyes. Thank you. Remember this kindness when the storm comes. We will not forget those who stood with us, even in silence. As the human fleet departed Nexus Prime, something had changed. The ships moved differently, more purposefully. The crews no longer looked defeated. They looked dangerous. Nari Wan had been the civilian administrator of New Haven Colony. She had died with her people. But her final message had been recorded and transmitted before the end. It reached Earth 3 days after the council meeting. "If you are hearing this, then we are gone," her voice said, calm despite the explosions in the background. "Do not let our deaths be meaningless. Do not let them make you afraid. Make them remember us. Make them regret what they have done. Show the galaxy that humanity will not bow. Show them that we remember. Show them what we are capable of when pushed too far." The message played across every human colony, every ship, every station. It played in bars where soldiers drank. It played in schools where children learned. It played in the offices where scientists worked on weapons that would change everything. Humanity had asked for peace and been denied. They had sought justice and been mocked. Now they would take what the galaxy refused to give them. They would take respect written in fire across the stars. They once ignored humanity. Now the galaxy trembles at its Wrath story outline. 5 parts. Part 1. The dismissal setting. The year is 2247. Humanity has achieved faster-than-light travel and eagerly seeks admission to the Galactic Council, a coalition of 847 advanced species that has maintained peace and prosperity for millennia. Key characters: Captain Jiwan Park, commander of Earth's first diplomatic vessel; the Horizon's Promise Ambassador Yoon Kim; Earth's chief diplomat, idealistic and determined Counselor Vexthar, a crystalline being from the Luminara species; arrogant council spokesperson Engineer Minho Lee, weapons specialist aboard the diplomatic mission Dr. Soman Choi, xenobiologist and cultural liaison. Plot points: Earth's delegation arrives at the Council's capital station, Nexus Prime, with hope and offerings of cultural exchange. The Council dismisses humanity's application without deliberation, citing them as primitives who still engage in warfare. Vexthar publicly mocks humanity's crude technology and violent tendencies. The Council forbids humanity from settling in 17 resource-rich systems, declaring them protected zones. Jiwan witnesses the Council providing advanced weapons to the aggressive Kresh Empire, while denying Earth basic trade rights. Humanity's delegation returns home humiliated, but Hyun vows they will prove themselves worthy. The Council places monitoring stations around Earth's solar system to ensure containment. Part 2. The provocation setting. 5 years have passed. Humanity has expanded cautiously within their limited territory, developing hidden research stations and carefully avoiding Council attention. Key characters: Admiral Do-hyun Kang, commander of Earth's growing defense fleet, President Yoon-ji Nam; Earth's leader, pragmatic and protective of humanity's interests; Soo-jin Yoon, scout pilot who discovers the atrocity Taeyang Shin; head of Earth's intelligence division, Nari Wan; civilian administrator of New Haven Colony. Plot points: humanity establishes New Haven, a colony of 50,000 civilians on a planet outside Council territory. The Kresh Empire, emboldened by Council weapons, attacks New Haven without provocation. Soo-jin barely escapes to report the massacre. No survivors. Entire colony glassed from orbit. Do-hyun presents evidence to the Council demanding justice and Kresh accountability. The Council dismisses the complaint, stating the planet was in disputed space, despite human settlement predating any Kresh claims. Vexthar suggests humanity should accept their place in the galactic order. Taeyang discovers the Council secretly authorized the attack to teach humanity humility. President Yoon-ji makes a fateful decision. Earth will no longer seek Council approval. Part 3. The preparation setting. Humanity enters a period of intense militarization and technological innovation, operating in the shadows of galactic society. Key characters: Dr. Ji-ho Baek, chief scientist of the Prometheus Project, General Hana Song; head of Special Operations Command, Youngmin Im, starship engineer revolutionizing human warship design; Captain Seo-yun Han, Commander of the First Ghost, Fleet Vessel Counselor Threnvok, a sympathetic council member who secretly aids humanity. Plot points: humanity builds a massive hidden fleet in the Oort cloud. Using asteroid mining and automated construction, Jiho develops quantum entanglement, weapons and shields that surpass council technology. Youngman designs warships optimized for human reflexes and tactical thinking. Smaller, faster, deadlier, Hana trains elite special forces units in asymmetric warfare and xenobiology-based combat. Tactics: Threnvok provides intelligence about council military positions and political divisions. The Kresh Empire continues expanding, destroying 2 more non-council species with impunity: humanity plants, sleeper agents, and information networks. Across Council space, Earth completes the Retribution-class dreadnoughts, 40 vessels of unprecedented power. Part 4. The Reckoning, setting humanity strikes back with precision and overwhelming force, shocking the galaxy with their capabilities. Key characters: Fleet Admiral Jiwon Park, now commanding the human armada, promoted from Part 1. Captain Minseo Jang, leading the assault on Kresh homeworld infiltrator Junho Lim. Deep cover agent within Council intelligence Kresh Emperor. Drakthor, the architect of New Haven's destruction. Counselor Vexthar, facing the consequences of his arrogance. Plot points: Human Ghost Fleet appears simultaneously at 17 Council military installations, disabling them without casualties. Minseo leads the assault on the Kresh homeworld, targeting only military assets with surgical precision. Human forces broadcast New Haven massacre evidence across all galactic networks, exposing Council complicity. The Kresh fleet, 4 times larger than Earth's forces, is systematically destroyed in the Battle of Kresh Prime. Drakthor is captured alive and brought before a human tribunal. Junho reveals decades of Council corruption and warmongering to the galactic public. Minor Council species begin openly supporting humanity, causing political fractures. Jiwon personally confronts Vexthar aboard Nexus Prime, demanding the Council stand trial for war crimes. The Council fractures as 200+ species withdraw membership. Part 5. The New Order setting. The aftermath of humanity's campaign reshapes galactic civilization, establishing new power structures and philosophies. Key characters: Ambassador Hyun Kim, returned to help forge a new galactic order. President Chaewon Kang, Yoonji's successor, leading humanity's diplomatic rebirth. Admiral Do-hyun Kang. Overseeing the peacekeeping fleet. Dr. Somin Choi, establishing the Interspecies Council for Justice. Former Counselor Threnvok, co-founder of the Democratic Galactic Alliance. Plot points: The old council dissolves, replaced by the Democratic Galactic Alliance with equal representation. Humanity shares its advanced technology freely with species willing to embrace peace and cooperation. The Kresh Empire is dismembered, its territory redistributed to its former victims. War crime tribunals hold former council members accountable. Vexthar receives a life sentence. Humanity establishes the Guardian Fleet, a voluntary peacekeeping force open to all species. New Haven is rebuilt as a memorial and multicultural hub, with survivors' families overseeing its development. The 17 protected zones become free settlement areas. Jointly administered. Chaewon delivers a historic speech. We never sought dominance, only recognition. We never wanted war, only justice. Now we offer what we were denied, a place of dignity for all. The story closes with Jiwon, now retired, watching diverse species children playing together on New Haven final line. They had ignored humanity when it asked for peace. They trembled when it demanded justice. Now they flourished under its protection. Themes: the consequences of arrogance and dismissing others based on preconceptions, justice versus revenge, humanity's restraint despite overwhelming power, strength found in adversity and unity, the responsibility that comes with power, second chances and redemption through accountability, tone epic, hopeful despite darkness, emphasizing human resilience and moral superiority through restraint rather than cruelty. 6 months had passed since the day humanity brought the council to its knees. Ambassador Hyun Kim stood in what used to be the council chamber on Nexus Prime, But everything had changed. The old seats arranged in a hierarchy were gone. Now there were simple tables arranged in a circle, where every species sat as equals. The Democratic Galactic Alliance recognizes the delegate from the Taurian species, Hyun said, calling the meeting to order. He had been elected as the first speaker of the new alliance, chosen by representatives from 400 species who had abandoned the old council to join humanity's vision of a better galaxy. A small, furry creature stood up nervously. The Taurians had been ignored by the council for centuries, too small and weak to matter. We wish to propose a mutual defense treaty. Our world's border Kresh territory, and we fear retaliation. The proposal is noted, Hyun replied warmly. All species present may vote. Remember, every voice counts equally here. There are no lesser members. The vote was unanimous. The Taurians would receive protection and support. Several larger species volunteered to help establish defense systems. It was a small thing, but it represented everything the new alliance stood for. No species was too small to matter. No voice was too weak to be heard. Outside the chamber, President Chaewon Kang walked with Admiral Do Yun through the renovated station. Chaewon had won the election on Earth 3 months ago, promising to build on the foundation Yoonji had created while ensuring humanity never became what it had defeated. How many war crime trials are still pending? She asked Do Yun. 17. We have processed most of the major cases. Vexthar received a life sentence, as you know. He is in a human prison facility where he cannot hurt anyone ever again. Most of the other council members who participated in authorizing the New Haven massacre have also been sentenced. And Drakthor? The Kresh Emperor was executed last month after a fair trial where he was allowed to present his defense. The Kresh people themselves requested the death penalty. They were ashamed of what their leaders had done in their name. Chaewon nodded. Justice had been served, but it brought no joy. The dead were still dead. New Haven was still a burned world. But at least the galaxy now knew that such crimes would not be tolerated. They reached a viewing port that looked out on an incredible sight. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species filled the space around Nexus Prime. Some were bringing aid to species that had suffered under council rule. Others were military vessels that had joined the new Guardian Fleet, a voluntary peacekeeping force that any species could join. Dr. Somin Choi was on one of those ships, the medical vessel Mercy. She was heading to a world that the council had neglected for decades, bringing human medical technology and supplies. It was not charity. It was partnership. The locals would teach her about their biology and culture. She would teach them what humanity had learned about medicine. Everyone would benefit. I never imagined we would be here, Somin said to her assistant, a young alien doctor named Pell, who had lost their family to council-sanctioned violence. A year ago, the galaxy saw us as primitives. Now we are leading a revolution in how civilizations treat each other. You earned it through strength, Pell replied. The council only understood power. You showed them you had power, and they had no choice but to listen. That is not the whole truth, Somin said gently. Yes, we showed our strength, but we also showed restraint. We could have killed millions in our revenge. We chose to disable rather than destroy. We could have conquered. We chose to liberate. That is what really changed minds. Not our weapons, but our choices. Far away on a world that was being rebuilt from ash, former Administrator Nariwan's daughter, Bora, stood watching construction drones work. New Haven was rising again. The planet that had been glassed from orbit now bloomed with life once more. Humans and aliens worked side by side, building something better than what had been lost. Mom would have loved this, Bora said to her companion, a Kresh engineer named Vel, who had volunteered to help rebuild. I am sorry for what my people did, Vel said quietly. We were taught that strength meant dominance, that peace meant weakness. We were wrong. You are here now, Bora replied. You are helping fix what was broken. That is what matters. My mother always said that the future is built by those willing to work for it, not those who cry about the past. The New Haven would be different from the old one. It would be a memorial and a promise. A memorial to those who had died. A promise that their deaths had meant something. that humanity had not met evil with more evil, but had instead chosen to build something better. Threnvok, the former council member who had risked everything to help humanity, now served as co-founder of the Democratic Galactic Alliance. He stood with Hyun, watching the first session of the new government. "Do you think it will last?" Threnvok asked. "This new order you have built?" "I do not know," Hyun admitted. "We are trying something that has never been done before. True equality among species. True democracy on a galactic scale. It might fail, but at least we are trying." "The council lasted for millions of years," Threnvok pointed out. "Yes," Hyun agreed. "And in all those millions of years, how much did it really accomplish? It maintained peace through fear. It kept order through oppression. That is not success. That is just existence. We want to build something that actually improves lives. Even if it only lasts 1,000 years, if it makes those years better for everyone, then it will have been worth more than the Council's millions." In Earth's orbit, General Hana Song oversaw the Guardian Fleet's training exercises. Ships from 20 different species practiced working together, learning each other's tactics and capabilities. Her second-in-command was a former Kresh admiral who had surrendered at the Battle of Kresh Prime. "Your people fight strangely," the admiral observed. "You take risks that would be considered insane by our standards." "That is because we think differently," Hana explained. "Most council species evolved in relatively safe environments. Humans evolved as prey animals that became predators. We learned to take calculated risks because the alternative was death. It makes us aggressive, yes, but it also makes us creative in combat. And now you teach these tactics to everyone? Why not? The whole point of the Guardian Fleet is to prevent wars. But if wars happen anyway, we want everyone to be able to defend themselves. We are not keeping secrets anymore. We are not hoarding power. We are sharing everything we learned, so that no species ever has to go through what we did." The former Kresh admiral was quiet for a moment. "You could have destroyed us. Instead, you offered us a place in your new alliance." "Why?" "Because destruction is easy," Hana replied. "Building something better is hard. We chose the hard path." President Chaewon stood before the Assembly of Species and delivered the speech that would define humanity's role in the new galactic order. "We never wanted to be conquerors," she said. Her words translated into hundreds of languages simultaneously. "We wanted to be partners. We wanted to learn and grow alongside other civilizations. The old council denied us that chance. They tried to keep us small and afraid. Instead, they made us strong and angry. But we chose not to let that anger consume us." She paused, looking around at the diverse faces watching her. "We had weapons that could have destroyed worlds. We had the power to take revenge on everyone who had wronged us. We chose not to use them. We chose to disable instead of kill, to capture instead of destroy, to build instead of burn. That was the hard choice. That was the human choice. Some say we are still primitives, that our capacity for violence makes us dangerous. They are right. We are dangerous. But not in the way they think. We are dangerous to tyrants, dangerous to bullies, dangerous to those who abuse the weak. We are dangerous because we remember what injustice feels like, and we refuse to let it continue. This new alliance is not perfect. It will make mistakes, but it will make those mistakes while trying to do the right thing, while trying to lift up instead of push down, while trying to include instead of exclude. And that, more than any weapon or technology, is what will make it succeed where the Council failed." Years later, Fleet Admiral Jiwon Park retired from military service. She returned to New Haven, now a thriving city of humans and aliens living together. She walked through parks where children of a dozen species played together. She visited memorials where the names of the 50,000 dead were carved in stone, so they would never be forgotten. A young human child approached her, holding the hand of a Kresh child. "Are you really the admiral who defeated the bad guys?" the human child asked. Jiwon knelt down to look the child in the eyes. "I helped stop some people who were doing bad things, yes." "My friend's grandpa was one of the bad guys," the child said seriously. "But she says he was wrong and she is sorry." The Kresh child nodded, tears in her strange eyes. My family is ashamed of what happened, but the humans gave us another chance. Jawan felt tears in her own eyes. That is what we do, she said softly. We give second chances. We remember the past, but we do not let it poison the future. You two are that future. You will do better than we did. You have to. As the sun set over New Haven, Jiwon sat on a bench overlooking the city. She thought about the journey that had brought humanity to this point. The dismissal, the massacre, the rage, the war.